As I mentioned in a previous video, I have discovered a worrying oil leak, and this has all happened since my last oil change. So I suspect there may be something with the gasket on the oil filter, or perhaps this pipe, this hose here, has come loose. I'm going to remove the duct to give me better access. I'm going to pop the filter off and check all my connections and to see if there's anything obvious that might be causing this leak. Well, I have the duct moved. And because I'm working around the alternator, I've also disconnected the battery so I don't accidentally short something out. It's a learn by experience. I've got my drain pan sitting underneath the car, but I don't anticipate there'd be a lot of oil coming out of there because the car's been sitting for quite a bit. I'll pull that filter off and see if I can see anything. I've snugged up the connection here for the hose that goes from the filter plate up to the oil outlet or inlet. It was a little bit loose, so I'll go with that. I'm still going to pull the oil filter off to see if there's anything I need to be worried about there. I've checked the gasket on the oil filter, and it doesn't appear to have any spots where it was not sealing. So I've wiped that gasket down, and I've also wiped down the surface of the oil filter thing there. And put everything back together, clean it up, and see if these two little items have fixed my problem. So I'll put everything back together now. I'll leave the air duct off, just in case I have to get back in there, and let's see if that solves the problem. There you can see the mounting plate with the two cap screws. So I'm going to check those to see if they are in fact tight. There definitely is an oil leak. I'm not sure if my dipstick is sealing properly. So there's the dipstick, and it appears to be tight to the top of it. I might just put a new rubber washer on there. I'll check those two cap screws and see if anything's loose there. All right, I'll go get the Allen wrench. And of course, I drop it into the oil bucket, which is where these magnets come in handy. There we go. Now my light's falling in there. Well, it was a little loose. So we'll snug those up. Get that light out of there. Good job, it's not very full. Anyway, so I've snugged those two bolts up. They were in fact loose. I should check to see if there's any debris or anything on that gasket face. And it looks okay, but I'll give it a good clean. Put the filter back on, top up the oil and the antifreeze, and give this area a really good spray down with some brake clean. While I'm in here, I'm going to tighten up that connection for the hose. And if I remember right, that's 9/16. We'll snug that up. And theory number one, test it out. I might just put a slightly thicker gasket on for the dipstick. I don't know if you can see that there. It's a little hard. I'll see if I can fix that. Right, I've snugged those bolts up, put the filter back on, tightened it just a slight turn on the hose fitting, and that's good. So I'm going to call that step done. So I'll clean everything up and start to go for a drive and see if that's fixed the problem. Now, I have noticed another issue and that is my temperature gauge has not been getting much over 160 degrees, even on these hottest days. It kind of stays between 120 and 160. I think that is incorrect. What I'm going to do is remove the sensor or sender and test it in some boiling water and see if the temperature gauge moves up to the 212 or 210, whatever the case, or moves up close to that 200 to 212 degree range. So I'll go get some, I'll get that removed, get the water, and we'll set up and see what happens with the gauge. Well, I have the water temperature sender out of the radiator, and I've got a cup of freshly boiled water. So I'm going to set this down, put the sensor in here, and see what happens at the gauge. Sensor's in the water, and what's our gauge doing? And it's not gone very high. So I'm wondering whether my gauge is done. Well, that's unfortunate. Not moving up past 130 degrees there, 140. Interesting. Okay, I've got it out of the water, or out of the hot water, and let's see how long that takes to cool off. Temperature is going down a bit. I'm going to put it back in the hot water, see what happens. All right, the water temperature's come down below 120, and you can see it's dropping. So I'm going to put the sensor back in the hot water and see what happens there. Yeah, it's going back up. But I think that means I'm going to have to look at replacing that or repairing that gauge. And you can see that the temperature hasn't got up too high there. All right, so there's another bit of research I've got to do. Well, I've discovered another problem. I have a leaky radiator. So I'm going to have to pull that out and get it fixed. You can just see it coming out right there below. So that is very annoying. Well, I'm going to wrap up this video with that. If you have any suggestions, or please leave them in the comments section below. I greatly appreciate it, for the radiator leak and the oil leak as well. Hopefully I have that oil leak fixed. I haven't had a chance to take it for a drive yet, but we'll get to that as soon as we can. If you'd like to see where this whole Bugeye project started, I'll put a link to that video up in the top corner. And if you want to catch up on the previous video, I'll put a link to that one down in the bottom corner. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Ian. This is the Econobox Garage. We'll see you next time.